Today on the spot, we get our update of what's new this week on PlayStation Network, get a double demo of Risen on the Xbox 360, and Star Trek Online on the PC. Ryan McDonald gives you more tips from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in this week's starting block. Marco Martinez brings you the latest this week on PC, and we give away some Tatsunoko vs. Capcom Ultimate All-Stars on the Wii. Today on the spot.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Today on the Spot. It's Saturday, January 23rd. I'm your host, Chris Waters, joined by my man Sean McInnes over here, who, contrary to spurious rumor, is not leaving GameSpot.com.
That was just a joke I made on the other show. That was my stab at topical humor. I was talking about leaving to go host the new 4 a.m. time slot show on NBC.
That's right, that whole late night drama.
Yeah, the whole Conan, Leno. I tried to jump in there and be newsy and topical.
How'd that work out for you?
Didn't work.
No.
I'm gonna go back to my old antiquated jokes that nobody gets.
That's stick with your strengths.
Mainly Civil War humor is my thing.
It's too soon, dude.
Yeah, too soon.
Not okay.
Too soon.
Moving on to the news of the day.
Yeah.
I'm super antsy. I cannot wait for Mass Effect 2. I'm thinking about it most of the day.
Yeah, I'm just walking around the office thinking what would be a Paragon action? What would be a Renegade action? I'm like, if I poked Lark in the back of the head, would I get Renegade points for that or Paragon points for that because he's technically evil?
Unfortunately, around here we have another word for Renegade action, and that's HR violation. So we're gonna steer clear of that. But we don't have Mass Effect 2 on the show today. That's just around the corner. But we do have another space epic, Star Trek Online. Got a great demo for that. Check out some of the space and ground-based combat in that, as well as another demo. And this week on PC, all that and more after Tor Thorson brings us the latest headlines.
Hey everybody, it's your GameSpot news update for Saturday, January 23rd. I'm Tor Thorson. 2 weeks after saying Electronic Arts would keep Tiger Woods as the cover athlete for an online browser game, the publisher has gone all in with the troubled sportsman. This week, EA Sports announced Tiger Woods PGA Tour 11, which will feature the athlete both in the title and on the box. The game is due out in June for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii, and iPhone, but the series will no longer come out on the PSP or PlayStation 2. Explaining the decision, EA Sports President Peter Moore said, "We're all about delivering the best simulation of world-class sport. If you're talking golf, Tiger Woods is the first thing that comes out of your mouth. We're all about delivering the best golf simulation, and Tiger Woods is currently the world's best golfer." In other sports news games, in November, Tony Hawk Ride landed with a resounding thud. Critics lambasted its unresponsive skateboard peripheral, and only 114,000 units of the $120 game sold in the US during the launch month. However, that didn't stop Tony Hawk from almost simultaneously confirming a follow-up, telling GameSpot that we've already started that process. It's all systems go, because I feel like we've only just really tapped what's possible with this technology. Today, Hawk confirmed via Twitter that work has already begun on the project at the Chicago studio Robomoto, and claims that it's already much better than I expected. Given the original's poor reviews, to say the sequel significantly exceeds expectation isn't really a ringing endorsement. We also don't know what quite to expect, since Hawk has hinted that it could be a straight skate game, a snowboard game, or a surfing game. Righteous, bruh. Well, that's it, your GameSpot news update for January 23rd. For more headlines, head on over to news.gamespot.com.
All right, from the latest in the news to the latest in downloadable content, it's This Week on PSN.
And now it's time for This Week on PlayStation Network, your weekly update of what's new at the PlayStation Store. Vandal Hearts: Flames of Judgment for the PS3 is new on downloadable games this week. Konami's legendary tactical RPG series returns. On the continent of Sastagaria, two rival kingdoms stand on the brink of war. Caught in the middle of the battle is young orphan Tobias Martin. Driven to defend his homeland and to avenge those already fallen, Tobias enlists with his comrades to fight for peace. But all is not what it seems, and they face a threat far deadlier and closer than they know. Available now for $14.99. On the DLC front, Namco Bandai is releasing the 5th in a series of free DLC packs for Dragon Ball Raging Blast on the PS3. The Warriors of Justice pack includes Kid Gohan, Kid Trunks, Goten, and Videl. They fight in the name of justice. The power of justice will conquer it all, absolutely free. Another free download this week is the SingStar Viewer. Get access to the best interactive online SingStar content straight from the cross-media bar menu. Check out hot new tracks at the Sing Store, the best performance from the SingStar community at My SingStar Online, and everything in between. Rounding out DLC is the WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 Stone Cold Steve Austin DLC for 99 cents. Download this pack and play as WWE legend Stone Cold Steve Austin. Jumping over to game videos, along with a long list of new trailers, 2 developer diaries for Dante's Inferno hit PSN this week. Join the developers as they take you on a tour through the 7th and 8th circles of hell, violence, and fraud. That's all the time we have this week. For a full list of items, please check out GameSpot.com and PlayStation.com for what's new this week on the PlayStation Network.
So that's your look at this week on PlayStation Network, and now we're going to kick it to our first daily demo. This one's for Risen, a game that originally came out on PC back in October, and now Xbox 360 owners are going to get some love with this medieval fantasy RPG. Let's check it out.
Hey everyone, Brian Eckberg here. We're here with our daily demo, which is Risen for Xbox 360. The game came out on PC last year, but we're checking out the Xbox 360 game right now. I'm here with Aubrey Norris from South Peak. This game is being developed by Deep Silver, but it's now coming to the Xbox 360. Finally, time for consoles, right?
Correct.
All
We're
right.
ready.
Yeah, we're ready. So, for someone who maybe didn't play the PC game, what is this game all about? Who do you play?
So it's an open world fantasy RPG. Basically, you play a character, you've washed up on a beach, you come to this island that is kind of in conflict between 2 factions. There's all kinds of ruins that have risen out of the ground, literally risen, and all of these monsters have kind of poured out. There's all these kind of supernatural issues happening on the island, and you have to kind of decide what faction you want to ally with. There's bandits that you can join up with, or there's a group called the Inquisition, who basically come in to try and save the people of the island from the supernatural forces.
But they probably have their own aims and desires, I would imagine.
Exactly. Both faction has kind of their own take on what's been going on the island, where these ruins came from, and what they need to do in order to save the people of the island.
And as you were showing me, we took a look at the game before we did this demo, but it's not just open world in terms of where you can go. This game is open in terms of how you design your character, what abilities you have. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. The way you customize your character and your character's abilities, every time you leveling is based on getting an experience and reaching an experience threshold. Every time you level, you get training points that you can allocate to a huge number of different skills and abilities. You can level up your stats, like your strength or dexterity, depending on what kind of weapon you want to use. You can take on professions like blacksmithing. You can get abilities like sneak, which will allow you to be more of like a rogue. And then when you decide kind of what sort of combat you want to do, you don't have to be a straight up warrior or a straight up mage. You could decide, well, I want to be a mage, but I want to carry around a huge axe. Or you could decide, I really like using a sword. I really want to be more of a warrior, but I want to have the option to be able to cast spells. So you can really do any combination of kind of a fighter and a spellcaster that you would want to do.
Nice. So we're taking a look at the game here. Where are we and what are we doing?
So here we're kind of in one of the areas outside of Harbor Town. You managed to get out of Harbor Town. Harbor Town is where all of the people on the island have basically been sequestered into. In order for you to get into Harbor Town, you had to bribe your way in there. And then in order for you to get out of Harbor Town, you had to ally yourself with one of the factions that's on the island. And in order to do that, while you were in Harbor Town, you had to complete a multitude of quests and gain their trust. Once you get out of Harbor Town, you have the ability to go and explore. Like we said, it's an open world RPG. So there's really no limit to the places that you can go in the game. Like once you get out of a town or out of a location, you can go and explore and pick up, fight different monsters. You can loot every monster that you fight and pick up meat from them. You can pick up herbs that you can use for alchemy. Every single thing that you can pick up has a use. So for example, if we kill one of these sting rats here and loot it, we can get some meat from it and later on use that for cooking and make ourselves, things like, fried chicken and different things that you can, seriously.
Fried sting rat.
Seriously.
So tell me about the controls in the game, particularly with regard to combat.
So the controls are done sort of in an overlay fashion. On your D-pad, you're using that to bring up different menus like your inventory, your maps, your quests, and then your X, Y, A, and B are your, A is to execute an action, X is to bring out your sword, Y is to jump, and then if you see, we have different things mapped also to each one of those buttons. And the way that works is, in order to map something, you hold in your left bumper, and then you map something, you just press the button you want it to map to. And you could map anything like, if you've permanently learned how to cast spells as a spellcaster, you can map that to a button. If you have scrolls in your pocket that you want to use, like we just use a potion right here, you can map, stacks of potions. Anything that's in your inventory or any ability that you've learned, you can map to a button.
All right. Well, of course, the last question is, when is Risen coming out?
In late February.
Late February on the Xbox 360. There you go. There's your look at Risen. Aubrey, thank you for being here. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Now on to the rest of the show.
So with so many good games kicking off this year, it's easy to forget about the great games end of last year that people are still playing. Case in point, Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2, I've been playing a lot of online multiplayer with that, but I'll be honest, I've been struggling against those guys with the double shotguns running around.
Those dudes are nasty.
I've found that if you're in a match with a dude with double shotguns, any button you press on the controller is the die instantly button. There's like no hope for
You
me
gotten
at
pretty
all.
good at that, exploring your, death streak.
All my options for
reward.
dying instantly out there, I can do it so many ways.
Glad to see you got a strategy that works for you, Sean. That's good. If that strategy doesn't work for you folks, you're looking to maybe not die or perhaps progress in rank. We got a few tips from our resident ace, Ryan McDonald, on how to get close to that prestige, what to do when you sort of want to refine your game even more. Let's take a look at that.
If you've been playing Modern Warfare 2 for the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 at the casual pace of an hour or so a night since its release some 74 days ago, you should be at least hitting level 70 by now and entering your first level of Prestige. If you're still struggling to compete online or just starting out, here are some more quick tips to help you stand your ground when playing online. If you're just starting out, following skilled players in any of the team matches is an easy way to figure out where good spots are to go and the general flow of the match. Plus, when following, you'll be able to provide cover fire, or at least have an opportunity to potentially pick up a kill if the player you're following is taken out. Listening to what is happening around you is hugely important in Modern Warfare 2. Make sure you either have headphones on or a surround sound system turned up. You'll not only hear the direction of nearby enemies firing their weapons, but you'll also hear the footsteps of other players near you, which comes in handy for not getting stabbed in the back or being prepared for someone coming right around the corner. Keep in mind though, crouching enemies and players with the ninja perk selected will still be silent. Speaking of perks, a lot of questions we still get from players ask what are some of the best combinations of perks, kill streaks, and weapon loadouts you can have selected. While hardcore players would likely argue it depends on the map, game type, and your style of play, which they'd largely be correct in doing, we found a couple loadouts that seem to work in most situations. The first is a combination of an assault rifle, in this case the M4A1, equipped with a silencer, which keeps your red dot from appearing on the map when you fire your weapon. As your equipment, you want to have claymores. For your perks, you want to pick up the Scavenger, Stopping Power, and Ninja. With the Scavenger perk, you'll be able to consistently pick up more ammo from fallen enemies, but even trickier is the fact that you can put down 2 Claymore charges at once. So the basic style of play for this setup that works best is to find a location like a room, where you can basically close off blind spots by using your charges. Place the charges and then set up so you have maximum visibility without giving yourself away. With the charges in place, you can concentrate more on what's directly in front of you instead of worrying constantly about someone sneaking up from the rear. Since every time someone tries to come your way, you'll hear the charge explode and either get 50 points for the kill, or at least be alerted to the fact that someone is coming from that direction. With this setup, the kill streaks that you want to have are pretty much the Predator missile or sentry gun, Harrier strike, and chopper gunner. If you got these ready to go, you're going to be getting the kill streak you've been looking for. That's all the time we have. Be sure to check the Modern Warfare 2 GameSpace for more info and tips, and send us an email at onthespot@gamespot.com if you think you've got a killer game plan that you don't mind to share. Until next time.
All right, thank you, Ryan, for imparting your great wealth of wisdom on us. Now we're going to move to our other resident expert, Marco Martinez, who's going to tell us all about what's going on this week in PC.
This week on PC, we have a demo of the indie game Zombie Driver, another IGF entry, and your patches of the week. Zombie Driver is a top-down action zombie game where your only weapon to destroy your enemies is a customizable vehicle. The animation is gruesome and fun as you're able to plow down multiple zombies as well as destroy almost everything in sight. The more zombies you kill, the more money you're rewarded, which you can use to customize or upgrade your vehicle and weapons. The demo has a high replay value and a quick install. Next, we take a look at another entry into this year's IGF competition. Puddle is a platform game where you must move liquid from one part of a level to another. You control the liquid either by your keyboard or preferably your Xbox 360 triggers. The amount of pressure you apply to the bumpers or keyboard allow you to tilt the screen, advancing the liquid to its destination. This game has high replay value and a quick install. Finally, we have your patches of the week. Red Faction Guerrilla has released Patch 1 that includes fixes with 5.1 surround sound, bug fixes, and more. Dark Void has released their physics patch that adds physics support for the NVIDIA GeForce graphics cards. You can find all these downloads at the GameSpot downloads page. I'm Marco Martinez, and that's it for This Week on PC.
All right, folks, sticking with the PC theme, we're going to dive into a little demo for Star Trek Online. Sean, how is your expertise on Star Trek Online? What do you got?
I'm so good at Star Trek Online, I've actually perfected my impersonation of the executive producer. Check it out.
Oh, God. This is, don't watch this. Hey, folks, it's daily demo time, and I'm here with Craig Zinkovich, the executive producer for Star Trek Online. Craig, thanks for joining us.
No, thanks a lot, Chris.
We're glad to have you here, and we're glad to travel where no man has gone before. Is that what we're doing here today?
We'll see. We got thousands and thousands of people in open beta right now, so maybe not where no man has gone before.
Okay, but you know, out into the black of space.
Yes.
Here we are in the system view.
Yep, we're in system space here. Star Trek Online, if you're going to make a Star Trek game, you got to have space and ground. So we have space combat. Everybody in the game is a starship captain. Figured there were maybe a few people who would want to be that engineer down in the engineering room pressing buttons for all day and leveling up. But everybody has dreamed about being a starship captain, seen any of the movies or the TV shows.
Absolutely. Now, so who did we just blow out of the sky here?
We just took some Klingons out of the sky here. Of course, if you're going to make a Star Trek game, you have to have Klingons in the game.
Absolutely.
All the different alien races that you've seen from the shows, you're going to either be working with or going up against and seeing why they're going to try to take their piece of the Alpha Quadrant.
Okay, and so Alpha Quadrant is the main contested area here.
The Alpha Quadrant is the main area within the game. You do go into the other quadrants a little bit. I mean, you can't have DS9 without the wormhole and jumping over into the Gamma Quadrant for a little bit, but the majority of the game at launch takes place in the Alpha Quadrant.
Okay, and so now we're doing battle in the Alpha Quadrant here, taking down folks. Now, how do you transition into ground combat? Do you send the away team down?
Definitely. A big, huge part of the game also is your bridge crew.
Okay.
I mean, the captain's the captain and the ship's the ship, but it's really about the people who are on the bridge that really, really define your role in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And we really wanted to get that going in Star Trek Online. So your bridge officers are like MMO pets, but taken to the next level. You level these guys up, you name them, you customize the way they look,
okay,
give them equipment, and when you go down to the ground on an away mission, you end up picking who's going to go down with you.
Okay, now if you've got this crew of trained, seasoned bridge officers,
Yes.
Do you bring some red shirts along on ground missions just for good measure, you know?
Definitely there are times where you bring your red shirts. You start off with one bridge officer in the beginning of the game, but quickly get more.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to fill out your 5-man away team, and you definitely take down some red shirts with you and kind of throw them in first.
Okay, so now we've landed on the ground and sort of seem to be encountering some hostile warriors.
Yep, ground combat is a lot more run and gun than space. You can see that we're down here with our full away team. They're standard MMO pets. They'll follow you, they'll go into combat, they'll do what you've asked them to do, use the equipment that they have,
Yep.
but you can actually give them commands. You can tell them where to go, you can tell them who to attack, when exactly to use their powers. You can kind of pause the game a little bit when you're playing solo and end up setting up the next encounter that you're going to go in and then initiate that combat as well.
Okay, so there's not only is there the actual action of you got to point at that guy and shoot him, but you're managing your squad and their abilities and trying to maximize all that.
Exactly, managing the squad, their abilities, and going to town.
This is quite a colorful, tree-covered area of the planet. Talk to me about the sort of biodiversity you see across the planets you land on.
I mean, you can't make a Star Trek game without being able to go where no man's gone before, like you said earlier. And it's just so many different environments, hundreds, thousands of different planets to explore in Star Trek Online. So, I mean, ice, forest, you got to have a strange mushroom planet, right?
Yep,
all of
absolutely.
these things exist, and you can find these things. The art style is fantastical, over the top. You know, we could have gone full on realistic, where the Saturn was actually this far from Earth, but really you're going to run into some really amazing, cool stuff in space.
Very cool. And there are people that are exploring those planets right now. You said you're in open beta right now. And so what's the schedule? When are people going to get to dive in?
Open beta right now. The last weekend is now, or after this airs. We go live 2/2/10, the 2nd of February. We're on shelves and we're running.
That's fantastic. Great, Greg. Thanks for coming by. And now on with the show.
Oh,
Hey, look who's back.
I forgot how much that hurts. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Okay. I mean, all right. That's cool. You know what? Well, glad you're back because it's your favorite part.
That's right, kids. We are giving away some Tatsunoko vs. Capcom Ultimate All-Stars. We've got 2 copies for the Nintendo Wii system.
Shiny plastic and all. You want to win one of these copies? Answer this question. Tell us, how many times has Tatsunoko vs. Capcom appeared on Today on the Spot? Do a little research, get the answer, and send it in to us using the module on the side of the page, or shoot us an email to onthespot@gamespot.com and get yourself a copy of the game. Nice little prize right there, Sean.
This is a pretty sweet prize. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this one.
Yeah, a little punchy kicky.
Punchy kicky,
Always a hit with the
double
family.
punchy, double Hadouken, punchy, dragon punch.
We are tactical masters, as you can tell.
We're really good at fighting games.
Yeah. Folks, thanks for joining us. That's going to be it for our show here. For everyone here on the GameSpot staff, I'm Chris Waters.
I'm Sean McInnes.
Have a great weekend.
If I throw this at your head, is that a renegade action?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. All right, from the latest in the news to the latest in downloadable content, it's This Week on PC. Working towards that prestige, we're getting up in the ranks there, looking for a few pros.
And we also don't know what quite to expect, since Hawk has hinted that it could be a Street Skate sequel, a snowboard game, or a service. Jesus.
Tune in next Tuesday when we bring you the latest on WeShop channel, and Sony drops by with a demo of SOCOM US Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo 3 for the PSP.